Hello, and welcome to another session of virtual gentle chair yoga with Keith Beasley. My name is Bati Blumenthal. I'm the branch supervisor of the Putterham location of the Public Library of Brookline. Virtual gentle chair yoga with Keith Beasley is sponsored by the Friends of the Brookline Public Library, who sponsor this program and programs like it. As always, participation in this online yoga program could result in injury. Not all exercises presented here are suitable for everyone. These exercises are not intended to substitute for proper medical care or advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any exercise program. The creators, teachers, and producers assume no responsibility for injuries from participation in this program. And with that, I give you Keith.
Hi, good morning. So let's begin with our good posture. So sitting up, thinking about extending the spine up, perhaps leaning a little from one side to the other so you can feel the weight moving in the feet and also in the sitting bones underneath. So we want to sit on something firm enough where we can feel the sitting bones underneath us. If the seat's too soft, everything just becomes kind of squishy. And we want to sit up and extend the spine. So some ways that we can feel this or help to feel the spine extending is to lift the front of the body up. So you could even rest your fingers, find your front ribs right here, and notice that when we kind of relax, the hands move down slightly. And then when we inhale and we lift up, we can actually feel the ribs lifting slightly forward and up and open. And the heart lifts too. So right here lifts. So it's the difference between this sort of relaxing down, and then this extension, lengthening up. And we can facilitate that lifting, that lightness, that upness by gently pressing the feet down. So, or feeling a real connection between the soles of the feet and the earth beneath you. And the chin might even lift up a little bit. That's okay. Don't let it lift up like this, though. Just a little bit is okay. We'd like the back of the neck to be fairly long, so we don't want to bend the head back like this. We'd like the neck to be long and the throat to feel lengthened as well, so that there's it feels open in the front, not closed down. And take a couple of breaths like this. So we're going to add, we use our good posture, and then we're going to add the focus on the breath, the abdominal breathing, the diaphragmatic breathing, the yogic breathing, whatever you want to call it. It's using that big muscle that we can't actually see that runs just at the base of the ribs right here going in. And as that muscle contracts, it moves down. It's a dome-shaped muscle. So when it's relaxed, it's actually shaped kind of curved up. And when it contracts, it moves down like this. And when it moves down, it creates a vacuum in the cavity where the lungs are. The lungs fill with air. And it also moves the contents of the belly out. All the internal organs puff out a little bit, so our belly gets bigger. And as we exhale and the belly's going back in, the diaphragm's moving back up and the air exits the lungs. Perhaps you can even feel the gentle movement of the air right at the tip of the nose where the nostrils are. Perhaps even following the breath in and out as you begin to breathe in, feeling the tips of the nostrils, and then imagining the breath moving down the throat, down the bronchial tubes into the lungs. And as that's happening, the belly is moving out. So there's this like a migration all the way from the tip of the nose down the body, down into the lungs, And then migration gently moves the internal organs. We get that belly expansion. And then as we exhale, it's the opposite. The breath, the movement begins to happen down at the belly, and it moves up through the lungs, up through the throat, and out through the nose, the very tip of the nostrils. And the face and eyes are soft here. And let's add a little movement to it now. We'll bring the palms together in front of the heart as if we're going to say a prayer. And then we're going to, on an inhalation, we let the hands float up and circle around. They're circling up and around. And this is a place where if you had a block or a box of tissues, you could put it between the thighs. Really anything light. Box of tissues will work too. And this helps to engage the inner thighs. You might even feel a little lifting in the arches of the feet as you gently hold the block. And then I'm extending up and circling around. So we're working to get some active engagement of a variety of muscles as the arms are circling and the breath is moving in and out. So even the intercostal muscles, the muscles in between the ribs, they help to expand and contract the ribs as we breathe. If they're more efficient, if they work, if the ribs are able to expand and contract with more ease and more overall movement, then you've got more space for the breath inside the chest. And that's a good thing. We always, having a little more room to breathe is good. Getting a nice full breath. It helps to oxygenate the blood more. It also helps to activate the relaxation response as we use the belly and the ribs for the breath. And then we'll bring the hands back to the center and release them down. And then as we inhale, the hands come up, the palms are facing up. So if you can, close the eyes here so that you're relying on just the feeling of the breath and the movement of the body. And you can concentrate on bringing our attention inwards to feel what's going on. You might notice that the sitting bones are rocking a little bit back and forth underneath you. So these movements are, the things like that are small. We still want to maintain 3 curves in the spine. And those 3 curves are the lumbar spine is going in, the thoracic spine is out, and the cervical spine in the neck is going in. We don't want too much curve, and we don't want a flat back. So we were born with those natural curves, and the alignment of the spine, the natural alignment of the spine is based on those curves. So the vertebrae fit better together when we have those natural curves. And let's bring the hands down. We're going to do some cactus breaths here. We're going to inhale. As we inhale, the arms float apart and the chest lifts up, and perhaps the chin lifts slightly. And then we exhale and it comes back right to the center with the hands. You could even experiment if you wanted. You could try the hands a little lower, or you could even try them a little higher. The elbows no higher than the shoulders, though. We'd like the shoulders to feel relaxed here. So don't bring the elbows up so high that the shoulders start to do this like a turtle. We don't want to be turtles. Not today. And then if you'd like, you can give yourself a little hug, which is a little wrap of the arms around the shoulders. And you can feel the shoulder blades spreading a little more behind you. And this is another place where you could experiment with where the hands and arms wrap. They could be lower, they could be kind of medium, or they could even be a little higher, depending on how your shoulders feel. There's some ease going on here, or a balance of ease and effort. So there's a little bit of effort and a little bit of ease mixed in. And if you wanted to, you could wrap yourself up and take a breath wrapped up like this. And then the next time you breathe in, the arms come apart. Changing the which arm is on top. It can be nice to sigh too. So sighing is a great way to relieve tension, let go of some tension, stress. The sigh of relief. The sigh of relief. And let's come back to the middle. And that's going to rock from side to side. So feeling first the weight moving from one buttock, one sitting bone to the other. And if you need to, slow it down a little. You could even still work with your block here if you wanted. But slow it down so you can feel the weight underneath you shifting from one side to the other. And maybe lifting the heel up on the leg that's on the sort of other side, starting by lifting the heel up. So I'm looking, if you're seeing the heel, it's lifting up as I'm leaning. And then you can start to lift a little more, perhaps lifting the whole foot up. First the heel, then the ball of the foot, and then the sole of the foot comes off, peels right off the floor. For stability, you could use your hands on the side of the chair too. So as we balance, as we lean to the side, it requires some balance here. It also you start to feel it in the belly here, the core of the body, the navel moves back, and it's as if the navel and the spine are pressing and coming closer together. So this is going to support the lower back and going to help stabilize the pelvis and the lower back. So we don't want any lower back pain when we do this. We actually don't want, in our yoga practice, we don't want back pain. We don't want any pain, really. We tend to be prone to back pain, many of us, because we sit so much. So one way to help with that is to firm the belly up, to strengthen the core muscles. So over time, we work to develop these muscles to support the back. So the back muscles don't do all the work. That's often what happens, is we're so used to just using the back that it's overworked. So it's like anybody who gets overworked, any part of the body, any person who gets overworked, eventually you get worn out. And eventually you probably have some sort of pain or injury. And notice that I'm using my arm a little bit too. If you want, you could even still have stability with use some extra support underneath with the hand as the arm lifts up. And you could extend the arm however you want. You could even begin to, if you wanted, extend the leg as you reach up. Being mindful that as we extend the leg, it requires more strength in the belly to keep the spine lengthened. So if you find that you're collapsing like this, when you do this, if you're collapsing like this, that's not good. You want to be able to sit up and extend. So perhaps even using the back of the chair here might provide a little bit of support. Very important. So in our practice, we're always looking to keep the spine lengthened. Always looking to keep the spine lengthened. And if that means you have to make smaller movements or only do, say, the arm lifting up and the knee stays bent, that's okay. And over time, if you keep working on the core strength on a regular basis, do these exercises, things like leg lifts or leg extension, since we're doing them in a chair. And let's do that, actually. Sitting up nice and tall. So slide all the way back in the chair so that the buttocks is all the way supported. So sliding all the way back. Notice I'm leaning forward. I put my butt back and then everything's touching. And even this chair is not the best chair because it's not a total flat back. It's actually pretty good because I can feel my back on this top part and I feel my buttocks down here. So I have pretty good support. You could even add some support here in the lumbar spine, a pillow or a blanket. It's really good for that. And now my lumbar, actually the curve stays more easily because the blanket is helping to keep the shape of the lumbar spine. So we're doing some leg lifts here. And notice as I lift up, if I press this other foot down and extend the spine up, I can keep that length. It helps with the length in the spine. So a few more of those. And remember to do them at your own pace. You could also add the breath to it. It's nice to breathe in as you're extending, as you're lifting, and then as you exhale, you relax and come back down. So breathing in, perhaps even adding the arm to it. So there's this floating up of the leg and the arm. The toes come back like this. They come back, the heel presses in that direction, away from the hip. And that's going to extend the back side of the leg. And if this feels okay, you could add the arm a little higher. Remember to keep the back lengthened. So we got to keep concentrating. We get the different parts of the body moving, and then we have to still remember to keep the back lengthened. Each time you add an extra, you have to lift something more, it gets a little more challenging. So whether it's just one leg, a leg and an arm, a leg and two arms and two legs. And you might notice if you're doing two arms and two legs, you start breathing a little more. So we'd like to, yoga is not typically thought of as an aerobic exercise. So we don't want to overdo it and become breathless. We want to stay at a spot where we can lift up and still breathe with some ease. Even if that means using the back of the chair, like I've got nice connection with the back of the chair here. And then one more. And then let's slide forward. We're going to move the feet out. So we have a nice triangular shape here for support as we begin to circle around. Think about lifting and extending the spine here first. First thing we're going to do as we circle is keep the spine lifted and extended. Notice how you can feel as if the weight is moving underneath you. from one foot to the other foot, to the sitting bone, to the other sitting bone. But imagine the circle underneath that you're sitting on, even though it's not a flat circle. It's as if you were looking down from above. We're circling the shoulders and the weight is circling. And let's go the other way. And if you want to, of course, if you want to make it harder, you can take the hands and get the hands moving too. If you need support, the hands on the knees and bending the elbows. You can use the arms a little bit to help move you around. Almost like a little push-up as you lean back. You use the arms to push yourself back. And we make sure that we keep the belly engaged here. So this is another spot where the navel is moving back towards the spine, even as the spine is lengthening. If there's any back pain, make your circles smaller. So we do not want to have back pain. And sitting up nice and tall. And exhaling. So take a couple of breaths. Let the breath come back to normal. So it's very important during our practice, we have these periods of activity where we're, working hard. And then we have these other times when we're letting the body, everything relax and get back to normal. A little bit like if you're familiar with interval training, the idea is in interval training is that we work kind of harder on the harder side, and then we give our body a chance to rest. So in yoga, we have that same idea. And when we're resting, we'd like to really be able to feel things relaxing, including the face and the eyes, and even the mind relaxing. Even the mind relaxing. And let's rock the feet. So we're going to work on the joints now in the body. So rocking the feet looks like this, as if the soles of the feet were like a rocking chair, bottom of a rocking chair. Go slow at first so you can really feel the floor rocking, pressing on the bottoms of the feet. Even if you're in shoes, you'll be able to feel the weight shifting inside the shoes. And if you want, you can add the hands, same idea. So we have the ankle joint is really moving with the feet. And with this, we have the wrist joint moving. And the extension of the fingers and the hands up, and the same as with the extension of the toes and the top of the foot. So they're going in unison, up and down. And if you can, close the eyes here and just rely on your feelings. So you have to feel the hands opening. You have to feel the balls of the feet lifting up. And then everything's going back in the opposite direction. The tempo is the same in the hands and the feet. And if you want more of a challenge, you could circle the hands around. You might notice the chin lifts up a little bit. So we've got a little bit more whole body experience here. We could even go the other way. You could try it the other way as well. Circling the hands the other way. So the rhythm stays similar. It's really the Don't worry so much about the wrists and the ankle moving together, but think about the rocking of the feet corresponding with the circling of the hands, sort of almost like a rocking of the hands as they go out and then they come back in. And it's the same idea where the feet are moving, there's a rocking, they're going, the heels are lifting up and then the toes, and then coming back. And let's go ahead and slide back in the chair for a moment. Use the back of the chair, lift the feet up, circle the ankles. So if this is challenging for the back here, do one ankle at a time. That's okay too. And then if you can, remember to switch if you're doing one, add the wrists as well. So circling and then bring them so they're in sync again. That might mean slowing down. Making sure that the knees aren't moving here. So if you have to hold the knees for a moment, we just want to move the circling down in the ankles. And even if you have to keep your hands on the knees the whole time, there's a tendency to do this. And notice how the knees aren't made to do that. The knee is a hinge joint. It's made to do this. So we're circling kind of slowly. And if you wanted, you could even add the chin up and down as you circle. And then going the other way. It's a little like, with the chin going up and down, it's like the patting your head and rubbing your stomach and sitting up nice and tall. So these are all, I mean, hopefully you find those to be a little challenging, but also a little fun. So don't take them too seriously either way. And sitting up nice and tall, we're going to, we're going to lift the feet up again. And this time I'm going to spread the toes out. So you can see, I'm going to think about spreading the toes. And some people can actually spread their toes a lot and other people can't. Other people's, the toes just spread a little bit. Mine are kind of in the middle, I would say. They spread a little, kind of like the hands. So I'm going to relax and then I'm going to spread. I'll hold the hands up so you can see. Like this. But ideally, the fingers, when they spread, they're just pointed straight ahead. And I'm not using too much effort here. It's as if I'm asking them to open and spread apart. And you could even start to curl the toes down if you wanted. So the opposite is open, is like this. The opposite is this curling down. You'll notice that when you curl down, that the top of the foot is lengthening. So the sole of the foot contracts. We'd like to do it without, we don't want to create cramps in the feet. So if you find that your feet are cramping, one of the things that you can do is give it a little massage. And then if you work on these things regularly without overdoing, so do less of the movement, not quite as intense. So a gentle contraction, and that can help with the cramping. We don't usually, we don't ask our feet to do this. And so it's not used to it. So sometimes the muscles respond by cramping. So sitting up nice and tall. And let's see. So we did the feet and the toes and the ankles. We did the knees with the lifting. We did the hips with the circling. Let's go and do the neck now with the lifting and up and down. So it's helpful when we work on our joints to start at one end of the body and work our way to the other, so we don't miss any of the joints. Otherwise, you can forget which ones you've done. So it's it's more methodical. And then we're going to tip the head. And if you want, you could prepare your pillow. So we have our pillow is our hands touching each other, and then we can place the pillow between the ear and the shoulder. Think about inhaling as you come up and exhaling as you rest. Inhaling up, exhaling, rest. And that's true with most things that we do in our yoga practice, where the effort usually comes on an inhalation, or the more effort or the lengthening of the spine is connected with the inhalation, and the relaxing part of the movement or the posture is associated with the exhalation. We have the relaxation response that we get as we exhale. That's the nervous system's response to gentle breathing, especially the exhalation. Slows the heart rate down, reduces the blood pressure. That's why breathing, that abdominal breathing, when we can be relaxed and it feels good and it relaxes the body and relaxes the whole body, including things inside of us. And let's turn the head. And let's add the hand to this one. So the nose, it's as if the nose is turning from one side to the other. You could even rest your finger on the nose like this, so they're turning together, or you could release the finger and let the nose follow the finger. And then go ahead and try opposite. As the nose and the finger come in alignment straight ahead, and then they go in the opposite direction. Go slow enough where you can keep the rhythm with the finger and the nose. And you could even switch hands, especially if sometimes your arm gets tired on one side. So if I forget and your arm gets tired, please feel free to switch. You could even try both hands together. Let's try, first let's try the nose and the hands together like this. Maybe that just the index fingers, interlacing the fingers, curling these fingers down. I'm going to have the index fingers sticking up. So as you turn, as you have the fingers together like this, feel the shoulder blades and the shoulders moving a little bit. Think about feeling down here rather than the neck. And just let the neck turn naturally. So I'm not overturning or overworking the neck here. And then let's try the opposite direction. So they come together in the middle, and then they go in the opposite direction. And again, think about this part of the spine moving from the say the bottom of the neck down to around the bottom of the sternum. That's the thoracic spine. It's in between right here, between the neck, the vertebra in the neck and the vertebra in the lumbar area. And then bring the hands down, roll the shoulders. And then try one shoulder at a time. And if you're tired of sitting, I've been sitting now for a little over half an hour, feel free. Remember, this is your practice. So at any time, really, if we're doing stuff with the arms, you could always stand up. So standing is optional in this class, but if you wanted to, you could stand. Just make sure if you're standing that your balance is good. So if you need an extra chair right in the front with a chair right behind you like this can be a nice way to work if there's any balance issues. Even the wall, standing in front of a wall with the chair in front of you can be useful. And so I think we were sliding forward or standing, and we were doing the shoulders, one shoulder and then the other, and then a little swimming. Oh, and so if you're doing it standing, you can do this standing. Just be mindful of balance, especially backwards as the shoulders are moving back. And then let's go forwards, reaching forwards, and then across the body to the opposite hip, letting the body turn. The ear on the side of the head is if you were going to gently listen down to the earth. Or if you were swimming, the ear would be in the water. Gently place the ear in the water. And then a few cactus breaths, inhaling and exhaling. So let's do a few poses. So we'll start with our tree pose. We'll do it twice. First time, show it seated. Second time, standing. Your choice, whether or not you do it seated, standing, one or two times. So you have to decide for yourself. Just be mindful it's a balanced pose. So make sure you have whatever support you need around you in the event especially if you're standing. And sitting up nice and tall in mountain pose and step that foot out. So it's about a 90-degree angle here. And then extend the spine up. So we're always thinking about lengthening the spine and then bringing the sole of the foot on the inside of the chair leg. And then a couple of times, extend the arms up, reach up, and come back down. So to properly train the spine to extend, we can use the inhale and the lengthening of the arms up, even if the arms aren't totally straight, even if you're just lifting the elbows like this, or even just like this. The idea is to start to feel the movement up the body, the lengthening of the spine up. So we use the breath and the arms to help with that. And see if you can actually feel things moving in your spine, just a little tiny bit up. It won't be like you're not going to gain a couple of inches in height, but it's really just a slight movement, a micro movement of extension in the spine. Micro movement of extension, a lightness. And then whenever you're ready, you can extend and reach the arms out or up, or even work with the hands in front of the heart like this. So your choice here. Pick one of those or make something up yourself that you like that helps to lift and extend the spine and makes a feeling of lightness. It's easier if you're seated to close the eyes here. It's hard if you're standing, it's very challenging to close the eyes. So be mindful of that. But seated, not so bad. And also if you need help with balance, we have our drishti point, which is a point that we would look at. Our eyes would be open, gaze maybe lifted slightly, and we look intensely, or maybe intently, or contently. We look contently at a spot, keeping the face and eyes soft. Maybe even a smile. And then whenever you're ready, you can lower the arms down, relax the shoulders, and then bring the foot back. Sit up in mountain pose. So take a couple of breaths here as you extend the arms up. So it's that idea of extending the spine as the breath is coming in, we use the breath and the arms to help lift and extend the spine. Micro movements in the spine. And coming back down, let's do the other side. So we step out. And we'd like the torso to be facing straight ahead. So I noticed that on one side, my torso seems to turn more in this direction. So I have to turn it back. I have to be mindful of that and bringing the sole of the foot on the inside of the chair leg. And let's try a couple of micro extensions using the arms and the breath to help. Inhaling and exhaling. A couple more. This could even be, so if you wanted to work just with this during your tree practice, you could, and it would be more of a dynamic tree, like your branches are growing. So you could even do this, inhaling up and exhaling down, and inhaling up and exhaling down. But we were doing a different way on the other side. So we'll do it the same, we'll keep the same pattern this way, inhaling and extending up, lengthening, perhaps feeling lightness when you breathe in. And if you need help with balance, that drishti point, find that focal point to help with balance. Letting go of some of the effort here. So we're relaxing at the same time we're efforting. Softening the face and eyes, maybe smiling. And then whenever you're ready, you can come back down. And then come back. And let's swing the arms for a moment. So if you're standing, it would be like this. Same thing if you're seated, except the hips don't really move. The important thing here is to be feeling kind of loose and still the spine lifted, but some lightness and some looseness in the spine, some ease in the spine. So our second time around will demonstrate it standing. So you might need to have your chair handy if you need a chair. So mountain pose first, extending the spine up, moving the shoulders back, relaxing the arms down. So find that nice base first with the mountain pose. Both feet feel even on the floor, the spine is extending up, and then go ahead and step that foot out. So just like when we were seated, except our buttock is no longer in the chair. And find that drishti point as you bring the sole of the foot on the inside of the calf. Just don't put the foot on the knee. Don't put it up like this. Keep it either below the knee or above the knee. Above the knee is okay too. Just making sure that you're not pushing the knee to the side. We're either on the inside of the thigh like this, or we're on the inside of the calf like this. And then go ahead and add your arms and maybe find a drishti point to help with balance. Breathing, lifting the heart, extending the spine, micro movements, lightness. Thinking good thoughts here, light thoughts. Trees are blooming, birds are singing. A beautiful time of year, the spring in New England. It's getting warmer. Let go of some of the effort. Keep the heart lifted and open. And then whenever you're ready, you can come down. Now let's swing the arms for a moment. Be mindful if you have a chair to not whack the chair with the hands. It's unpleasant. So try to avoid that. And let's do the other side. So come back to mountain pose, lift and extend the spine, step the foot out. Foot steps out, spine extends up. Sole of the foot comes to the inside of the calf or the inside of the thigh. Extending up, you can add the arms. Find some lightness here with the breath, with the extension of the spine, lifting the gaze slightly, find a drishti point, soften the face, relax the jaw, the tongue, and the throat. Soften the shoulders. You can always touch the foot down and come back. Find some softness here, some ease and effort at the same time. Ease and effort at the same time. It's as if they go back and forth a little bit, and eventually they meet in the middle, and you find both of them at the same time. And then whenever you're ready, you can lower the arms down and swing the arms. This is such a nice, this coat sleeves, swinging our coat sleeves is such a nice way to free up the spine. This gentle, that's a gentle twisting motion, really. And let's add a little bit more, making sure we don't, making sure we have a clear spot here. The movement as we get ready for spring, as we get ready for the spring, maybe a little batting practice. So this, we call this a spiral movement. So this is a spiral movement. And when we do this, just like swinging a baseball bat, a golf club, a tennis racket, they're all based on this spiral movement, this swinging back and forth. And of course, we can do it seated as well. It's not quite the same, but we can shift the weight to one side, one buttock or the other, even like this. You could even lift up this other foot if you want a little bit more work going on in the belly. A little swinging. So, trying to think when opening day, somebody told me, I think that the Red Sox are playing the Yankees in New York for the opening part of the season in a couple weeks, I think. So you can practice your baseball swing or your golf swing. There's people golfing now over at the Putterham Golf Course. So it's nice. And let's do a triangle pose. So triangle pose, we have the shape of the legs here, form a triangle. So if you know it's standing, feel free. Otherwise, we'll start seated first time, and the second time we'll show it standing. So sitting up nice and tall and extending the legs out. You may need to sit near the front edge of the chair here. Makes it easier to extend the legs. The other choice is if you need support from the back of the chair and you're sliding back in the chair, then go ahead and bend the legs. We still have the triangular shape though, with between the feet and the perineum right in the center. So this would be, if I'm using the back of the chair, I have my legs bent. If I'm using more the front of the chair, I can extend my legs like this. Be mindful of balance here if you use towards the front of the chair. You can even hold on with your hands behind you if you need to for balance. So I'm going to show it like this. This would be similar to if you were standing and extending the arms out. And let's do this. We've been working on the lengthening of the spine up. Let's try that a few times as we breathe in lengthening up. So the toes come back, the heels press away, and there's lengthening in the spine here as I'm extending up. So this makes our base strong as we extend the spine up and lengthen even before we do triangle pose. And then we can extend the arms out to the side and then inhale and reach out and then come down with the hand like this. And inhale, reach up, and then the other side. The bending in this pose comes where the thigh meets the torso here. So we're not curving like this. It's more like we're bending, folding out like this. And then when we get to the, as far as we can, or as far as is comfortable, we bring the hand down for support. So inhale up and exhale. So you could work inhaling, exhaling like this. And you could even pause here for a breath. Inhaling, keeping breathing. And then the next time you breathe in, you come up. So we're not holding our breath, but we could stay in the position for a breath. Inhale, and then exhale, reach out, and inhale, and exhale. And then inhale, come on up, and come on down. Bring the feet back. Come back to your mountain pose, whatever that is. So you can repeat it seated, or if you'd like, you could try it standing, or you could do it again standing if you've been doing it standing. A mat can be nice if you're standing. We don't want we don't necessarily need a mat, but we want our feet to not feel like they're sliding around. We want our feet to feel like they're stable. And then we step the feet apart and extend the arms out. So notice this looks so similar to when we were seated with the feet out, with the legs straight. And then we inhale, and you want more of a challenge, you can widen the stance. Inhale, and then reach out, and then bring the hand down. You could even bring this hand up slightly so that as if the arms were extended, they would be out like this. And then inhale up. So a couple of times with the breath, exhale down, just to warm up. And if you wanted to, and you wanted to hold the position and breathe one breath, you could do that as well. So that would be exhaling, and then in the position, exhaling, and then coming up on the next inhalation. Inhale, inhale, and then coming up on the next inhalation, and then stepping the feet. If your feet are far apart, try toe heeling like this. So we don't want to strain as we hop or jump with the legs together. We're going to add some, actually, let's add some of our turning, our spiral movement here. So if you're still standing and you'd like to do this standing, feel free. Otherwise, you can be seated and do it seated. Be mindful of the back of the chair here if you're seated. You also have a choice here. You could be keeping the head straight ahead. And if I do that, my neck automatically turns because my torso is turning. The other choice would be to turn the head with the torso so that the turning is really coming down here and the head is really just going back and forth with the torso. So it's kind of your choice there with whether or not the head stays straight or the head travels with the shoulders. You could experiment with both. The most important thing is to do it slowly and mindfully so that there's no abrupt twisting, especially in the neck. We don't want to force the neck into any position. It's really not a good idea. Sitting up nice and tall. And let's have some sun breaths here. Inhaling, lifting the heart. And notice if the spine is moving with a little more freedom now than it was at the beginning of practice. That's what we'd like. We'd like a spine that moves easily. When the spine moves easily, the rest of the body moves a little more easily. There's an interrelationship. Our nerves work better. Our muscles work better. The fascia work better. All the things that hold our body together, when one part works with more ease, the others are interrelated. They work with more ease. And let's go the other way. Perhaps closing the eyes here, if that's comfortable. So we're beginning to bring the attention inwards again as we prepare for Shavasana. And whenever you're ready, you can slide back and find your most comfortable way to sit. For most people, the knees are a little apart and using the back of the chair for support. We want to be create as much ease as possible. You could even do this laying down if you have a firm spot. You could even lay down and do Shavasana. Feeling the earth underneath the feet, underneath the buttocks and the sitting bones. As we inhale, there's a gentle extension of the spine. And as we exhale, there's a softening of the face and eyes and shoulders. And this is the time in the practice where we focus more on the ease in the body and we let go of nearly all the effort. Just enough effort so that we're not falling over, so we're not collapsing. And enough ease where we begin to feel relaxed and the breath begins to settle down. The mind begins to settle down. Feeling the belly moving in and out very gently, very softly. The breaths might not feel as big as before, but they feel some satisfaction, and we especially feel ease with the breath, especially as we exhale. The eyes and face are relaxed. The jaw is soft. The tongue, the throat, the shoulders, the arms and hands, they're all soft and relaxed. The ribs are soft and relaxed. The torso, the buttocks, the hips, the the legs and the knees and the ankles are all soft and relaxed. And the feet and toes are soft and relaxed. So this completes our practice for today. So please, if you have a few extra minutes, just hang out in Shavasana, just focusing on the breath, even for just a few minutes. If you have 5 or 10 minutes, that's great too. And allow the body to relax and enjoy the rest of the day with a little bit of more relaxed feeling. Namaste. Thank you for practicing today.